Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I will be showcasing some of my AHS characters. AHS stands for American Horror Story. I have designed quite a few of these characters. I've counted so far about 30, so yeah, let's get into those. American Horror Story is sort of like obviously horror and thriller entwined into one. They are based on their own stories, but they are all entwined with each other. So far there is 9 seasons and a 10th will be coming out I think next year. I'm not sure what it's based on, but I think it's based on mermaids, but we'll know more as time goes on. Some of the AHS characters are based on real people, so I will be going more into that when I come across a character that is based on actually a real person. Anyway, the first one is Tessa Faminger, and she plays Zoe Benson in AHS Coven, and I think she's a real great character. If you've ever seen, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but if you've ever seen this, I think her character grows and grows in that season, and I think the more you see her, the more she is wanting what they are all wanting in the Coven. I can't go into any spoilers because for somebody who hasn't seen it, it might spoil it for them. So the next character is Misty Day from AHS Coven, played by Lily Rabe. I think she's a fantastic character, so sweet, and when she first gets introduced into the Coven, I think that her character, you see the sweetness in her, and I think it's her innocence is beautiful. And I also love this season of Coven because they get to play a lot of Stevie Nicks music, and I like her music. The next character is Sister Jude from Asylum, and she is played by Jessica Lange, and I think Sister Jude is a very complex character, she's not evil, but she has a very sinister side to her. Like all characters, they all have an inner depth to them, and yeah, I enjoyed designing her in The Sims. The next character is Tate, played by Evan Peters. He is from The Murder House. I enjoyed creating him. Tate was a very complex character to design. His facial features are very hard to get to grips with, but yeah, Tate is also very complex character, like they all are, and yeah, and I enjoyed designing him. I'm especially proud of my Liz Taylor. Liz Taylor is from AHS Hotel, and the person who plays her is Dennis O'Hare, and yeah, I just think that this character in Hotel is just brilliant. Her story of how she transforms is just fantastic, and when she's in the room with Lady Gaga and she's doing her makeup and she's transforming her, and when she says goddesses don't speak in whispers, they scream, that had it for me. It was just perfect. And when she went down the hallway and felt so good. That's a slight spoiler, but not a spoiler, but you'll have to watch Hotel in order to just get the real impact of Liz Taylor's backstory. The next characters are Bette and Dot from American Horror Story Freak Show, played by the lovely Sarah Paulson. Unfortunately, I couldn't put Dot's head on with Bette because you cannot do that in The Sims 4. However much I would love to try and do that, you can't do that. Anyway, Bette and Dot are based on real people, so I will go into that now. So these sisters were inseparable. On the left hand side is Bette and Dot from AHS, played by Sarah Paulson, and on the right is the Hensel sisters. So in AHS, Elsa discovers conjoined twins Bette and Dot Tatler and convinces them to join the show. Dot is reluctant and relents only to please her sister Bette, who dreams of becoming a star. Now, Sarah Paulson playing the role of 2 different sisters on the same series would be very challenging for the actor, but for Sarah Paulson the challenge was multiplied by having to perform the roles simultaneously on many occasions. The physiology of the Tatler sisters was inspired by real-life conjoined sisters Abby and Brittany Hensel, whose 2003 documentary Joined for Life was closely reviewed by Paulson in preparation for the part. Yet the story of the Tatlers follows the lives of a different set of twins, Violet and Daisy Hilton. These conjoined sisters, like Bette and Dot, suffered the abuse of their guardians during the early years in the show business. The pair toured the carnival circuit and even starred with the Celebs. I don't even think I've said that properly, but in The Freaks. The sisters saw great success for the time and eventually liberated themselves of the Guardians on the advice of Harry Houdini. Eventually, interest in their act dwindled, and they spent their last years working in a grocery store before they passed away in 1969, dying only a few days apart. So the next character I'm going to talk about is Mr. March, played by Evan Peters in AHS Hotel. I think this is a fantastic character, and Evan Peters plays him so well. He is actually also based on a real person, so we're going to go and look into that now. So as I was saying, Evan Peters plays Mr. March in AHS Hotel, and he is on the left here. And on the right is the real person, H.H. Holmes. A little bit about the AHS Hotel. James March built the Hotel Cortez, where the bloody events of AHS Hotel took place. He married Elizabeth, who delighted in the many murders March enacted on its grounds. March designed the place around his violent tendencies, fashioning rooms that enabled him to commit any murder of killings within its walls. Now, Mr. March is clearly modelled on a real-life serial killer, H.H. Holmes, who did build a hotel designed for murder. It featured gas jets, which turned guest rooms into deadly chambers, and a wooden chute that allowed for bodies to be swiftly disposed of in an incinerator. His murder hotel claimed the lives of many young women who visited there in connection with the 1893 Chicago's World's Fair. When he was finally caught, Holmes confessed to the murders of 30 people. Though authorities believe he may have been responsible for nearly 200 deaths, he was hanged for his crimes in 1896. His hotel was later intended to be remodeled as a murder castle attraction, but was destroyed by fire before its opening. And so the next character is Elsa Mars from The Freak Show, played by Jessica Lange. I thought this character was very good and very bad as well, but I enjoyed watching her. She had a goal, and you know, we watched her journey through The Freak Show, and it's kind of a sad story as well, and you'd have to watch it in order to be able to see it for what it really is. But yeah, that is Elsa Mars. So the next sim is Hypodermic Sally, played by Sarah Paulson in AHS Hotel. I just love designing this sim. Unfortunately, I had to get a lot of CC from places like Google and the TSR website. But yeah, she was a really great character to design. And yeah, I just love her in the hotel as well. I think it's fantastic. So the next sim after that is Brooke from 1984, played by Emma Roberts. I just think this season is... well, it was really good and really strange at the same time. It had a sort of a Jason feel to it, and yeah, Camp Blake or whatever it's called. I never really did watch horror films like that because they scared me to death. But yeah, this was really good and based along the lines of that. And I love the 80s music and the 80s feel to this. So the next person is the Countess, and just let's look at her in all her glory. She just looks fantastic. She is played by Lady Gaga in AHS Hotel, and you know what? I think she's just blooming fantastic. Lady Gaga was perfect, the Countess was perfect, and it was based on vampires, and I just love that. The Countess is actually based on a real person, and I will go into that now. So the Countess, Bloody Countess. Here we have Lady Gaga on the left in AHS Hotel, and Elizabeth Bathory on the right. In Season 5, AHS returned to Los Angeles for Hotel, a collection of stories set within the walls of a fictional Hotel Cortez. It's partially owned by Elizabeth, Lady Gaga, whose performance would earn her a Golden Globe. Elizabeth sometimes calls herself the Countess, and is revealed to be immortal due to a blood virus which allows her to sustain herself through vampirism. The character is styled after Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who is known to history as Blood Countess, a 16th century woman born in Hungarian nobility. Her wealthy family reportedly tortured the peasants unlucky enough to live near their estate. When she came of age and married, it said she enjoyed torturing servants by driving nails through their bodies, beating them, and even causing some to freeze to death. It was rumoured that she bathed in the blood of her victims to preserve her youth. Leading to speculation that she was a vampire, her noble status meant she couldn't be tried for her crimes, but she ended her life imprisoned in a windowless castle. So the next character is Iris from Hotel, and she is played by Kathy Bates. Now, Kathy Bates was a really hard one to design, but I enjoyed doing her anyway. Someone asked me not so long ago if I could design her, and I think I did an okay job. I tried my best. So that's Iris. The next one is Myrtle Snow, played by Frances Conroy in Coven. I think she was a fantastic character, and she had this very weird sort of presence about her, and yeah, I thought she was an okay one to design. She wasn't easy. So the next sim I designed is Pepper Legba from Coven, played by Lance Redrick. I thought this was a really, really interesting character, and you know, when we first saw him in Coven, we were like, whoa, who's that? And to design him was quite difficult, and quite I wanted to get him right no matter what, because his character had such a presence in the Coven that I thought, right, I need to get this character right. And I think that I did an okay job. He looks cool whatever the way, and he is also based on a real person, so I will go into that now. Papa, don't preach. Marie-Louise gained immortality within the world of AHS Coven by making a deal with a stylishly devious devil known Papa Legba. Legba grants Marie eternal life, but the terms of their agreement require that the Voodoo Queen sacrifice an innocent soul to him annually. A gatekeeper to the spirit world, Legba uses his power to exploit the souls of the living for personal gain. The AHS version of Legba caused controversy among those familiar with the Haitian and Western African spiritual traditions, which informed the voodoo practice primarily in Louisiana and New Orleans specifically. In those traditions, Papa Legba is not demonic at all. He is invoked at the start of rituals to facilitate communication between the living and the spirit. The drug-using top-hatted devil of AHS actually has more in common with the mischievous figure known as Baron Samedi, both in appearance and attitude. So the next sim in AHS is actually Nan from Coven, played by Jamie Brewer. Now, she's fantastic. She's so sweet, but she's such a grey actress, and I find her in Coven just brilliant. Her attitude, her sarcasm, the way she projects herself is just fantastic, and I think she's a brilliant actress. The next sim is Wilhelmina from Apocalypse, played by Sarah Paulson, and you know, I haven't seen Apocalypse yet. I think I was halfway through it and thought this is kind of spooky, but yeah, I think Sarah Paulson is a brilliant actress, and she portrays herself really well, and she just manages to go into so many different characters. It's unreal. So yeah. So the next sim is Fiona Good from Coven, played by Jessica Lange. I just think that Jessica Lange's presence and the way she portrays herself is just fantastic. She is a brilliant actress, and the way she can divulge into a role, different characters, she's just brilliant, and I just think she's a really beautiful woman. And yeah, in the Coven she was pretty damn good. So yeah, that's her. The next is Marie Laveau. I think I've said her name right, I'm not sure, and she is from the Coven, and she is played by Angela Bassett. And you know, with this sim, I'm really proud of her. I had to get this so right. I just wanted to show off the voodoo-ness in her, and I think I got that down to a T. I really loved designing this character, and I think she turned out really well. And she is based on a real person, so I will go into that now. A real-life witchy woman. On AHS, Marie Laveau is powerful, immortal voodoo queen played by Angela Bassett, whose desire for revenge against Madame Laura Laurie leads her to form her own cult of followers. In the modern-day timeline of Coven, she alternatively makes and breaks alliances with the Coven of Witches led by Fiona Goad, descended from the victims of the Salem witch trials. Confirmed details of the life of the real Marie Laveau, a free black woman born to Creole mother and white father at the turn of the 19th century, are scant. The woman herself, a Catholic who wore threads of African and Native American traditions into a religious practice. She was reluctant to tell her own story, according to the 1881 obituary in the New York Times. What is known is that Laveau worked as a hairdresser, a detail represented in her AHS counterpart, and that this work informed her role as a spiritual advisor to the wealthy and powerful people of New Orleans, who flocked to her for guidance in matters both personal and professional. The next AHS character is played by Lily Rabe from Asylum, and she is just fantastic. I mean, look at the character here. Now, this is her when she is in her bedroom alone, and I don't know if she's got the devil inside her at this moment in time, but she's having a good sing-song and prancing around in her underwear. I thought this was a fantastic part in the AHS Asylum, and it just brought some comic to that season, which was quite very dark. The next one is the Angel of Death, and she is also from the Asylum, and it was played by Frances Conroy, and she's not got her wings on at the moment, but yeah, she was a fantastic character design, and the character in Asylum is just fantastic, and I thought it was really good to represent that Angel of Death in that season. So the next sim is the Alabaster statue, and that's from Asylum, and I just think it's great. It's represented in the beginning when the seasons come up, the chapters come up, and it just focuses on that statue, and I just think it's fantastic, and it has its own, it's just freaky, but it's just cool as well. I wanted to have the hood sort of like flow in with the actual gown, but I couldn't find that, so yeah, I think it turned out well. The next sim is Winter Anderson, played by Billie Lourd, and this is from AHS Cult. I think Billie Lourd is just a fantastic actress, and she really did really well in Cult, even though it is very dark and very scary and thrillerish. I just think she did a really good job. So this is Tate, and he is in his sort of like school shooting outfit. He is played by Evan Peters, and I just think Evan Peters is really fantastic. He's been in all of the AHSs apart from a few, and I just think he's a really great actor, and for him to actually portray this character in the murder house was just really brilliant, and I had to get the right makeup for him in order for this sim to work. So yeah, I think I did an okay job on him. The next one is Ramona Royale, and she is from Hotel, and she's played by Angela Bassett, and I think Angela Bassett, she's just a fantastic actress, and I just wanted to showcase that in this video. It wasn't really hard to design and get the dress right, but her face is incredibly difficult to put onto Sims, but yeah, I think I did a good job. So that is her. So the next lot of Sims and the last lot of Sims is Oliver Threadston from Asylum, which is played by Zachary Quinto. I would watch that. I would recommend that, watching this season, but it does have a few twists and turns with this character, which is quite spooky in one point. But yeah, I like Asylum, and I think it's a good season. So the next Sim is Pepper in Freak Show, played by Naomi Grossman. Now, I had to get this character right because I wanted to portray her and the way she looked. I think Naomi did a fantastic job, and Pepper is such an adorable character with a very sad story. I think, yeah, it's kind of sad. So anyway, she is based on a real person, so yeah, we'll go and check out that now. A travelling show of human curiosities starring the 4th season of AHS, led by scheming ringmaster Elsa Mars. The carnival of performers of AHS Freak Show are misunderstood by the public, who perceive them as monstrous because of their unique appearance. Among them is Pepper, a microcephalic woman recruited by Elsa after her family abandoned her to an orphanage. Her first appearance was in AHS Asylum, where her storyline diverged from that of a historical inspiration. Pepper, as played by Naomi Grossman from Freak Show, was based on Skurlies, a real carnival performer. Skurlies is thought to be a man named Simon Metz, born in 1901 in Bronx, New York. His parentage is unknown, but his condition relegated his brain development to that of a young child. He performed with the Ringling Brothers Circus and at Coney Island in the late 20s before being cast in Todd Browning's 1932 MGM cult classic Freaks. He took the last name Surtees from his guardian George, a former carnivore barker and chimpanzee trainer. Skurlies became one of the most well-known carnival performers of his era, costumed in a dress and billed as a woman. The next character is Meep, and unfortunately I do not have his feather duster on his head. I actually superimposed that onto the photograph during the edit. But yep, he is by Ben Wolfe, and he is also from the Freak Show, and he has a lovely little thing going on with Pepper, and I just think that they're so cute together. The next sim is Montana Duke from 1984, played by Billie Lourd, and I just think this character is fantastic. She's just perfect, and I think Billie Lourd is, like I said again, is just a fantastic actress, and she plays this character really well. And also, last but not least, is Madison Montgomery, played by Emma Roberts in The Coven. I think Emma's portrayal of Madison is fantastic. Unfortunately, she, in the beginning, is not very good for her, but, you know, her character grows and grows as the season goes on, even though she's a little bit naughty at times. But yeah, I think she's a great little character, and I think she was fantastic in The Coven. So guys, those are all of my AHS characters. I am missing one, Maggie Esmeralda. She is also played by Emma Roberts in the Freak Show, and she is a fortune teller. Unfortunately, I cannot find her in my Sims gallery, but enjoy the video of her. She is actually available to view in my YouTube videos. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Thanks for taking the time to comment and subscribe if you do. And yeah, I'm sure I will come up with many grouped videos shortly. So thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.